Good morning, everybody. Tim Scott was here live from the back lot. Yeah, it's been a while. Episode 8. Today is Friday. It is the correct date there, March 29th. Listen, it's time for the weekend. I wanted to get in a little podcast, a little video cast, a little message to you guys. Hope everything is well. It's been a crazy spring market. Let's see if I up on the live stream over here. Not sure. We'll give it a second to see. What are we going to talk about today? Do I need to go to the auction? And I can't tell you the number of dealers that are coming up to us and saying, "Hey, man, I need to get to the, I need to help put a buy plan together. I need to get to the sale. I need to be better at buying cars at auction." So let's talk about that. I actually got a bunch of ideas, and maybe the next couple of weeks we'll kind of dive into this whole thing about acquisition, right? Acquiring more inventory. Talk a lot about getting inventory from the consumer, but let's talk about look at it from a little holistic perspective. So we'll get into that today. So a couple of things about the market, right? So prices at the sale or in the industry are kind of flat. According to Black Book, it's reflecting a positive trend. That's good. I think it's good news where we're at. We're seeing growth in the market, like a little bit of a uptick, a 0.13% increase. What does that look like? You got to look all the way down here at the lower right-hand portion of the graph. You'll see we're kind of back at zero for as far as flat goes, week over week change. And you'll see that the dotted there, the gray dash line here, that's what it is, 2017 to 2019, right? I always say 2019 was the last normal year. So we're kind of back to a more traditional, week over week inventory change. So I think it's, unless something, drastic happens, we can kind of predict what we're going to be seeing as far as the market goes. We'll see a slight uptick as we go into the spring and summer, and slowly start to drop off. End of July going into August, and then September is typically where we see the fall off. We'll watch it carefully, but that I think it's safe to go out there now, knowing that the prices are going to be flat, maybe up a little bit over the next couple of weeks. So if we're on a healthy turn, we're good, right? Where are we at as far as a different perspective of the weekly price index? You can see this black and white dotted line here shows you. We're up slightly, very normal. And then obviously on the retail listings index, right? Sorry, the pricing index, retail listing pricing index, prices are down. You guys are getting a little aggressive, right? I was talking to somebody that's like, I think velocity is becoming sexy again. Right? Right? We got to talk about turn. I'm not saying cut the prices out, race to the bottom. No, but we need to be talking about turn. Thinking about it. All right. So should I be going to the sale? Listen, I'm not a big fan of the auction. Now I know that I work for an auction company. Absolutely right. But I liken the auction to a flea market. Now, when I was a kid, I was, my mother and father, we used to go out to Englishtown. If you guys know in Jersey what Englishtown is, but we would hit the flea market maybe once a month, a couple times a year. But you didn't go to the flea market to have to buy anything, right? You would go, one, because you were hoping you could get a good deal, right? Maybe you'd find something you didn't know you needed, but you could get a good deal. But at the end of the day, the flea market is everybody else's crap, right? It's shit somebody else didn't want in general. Okay, now, so when I hear guys say, I got to get to the sale, okay, I think if you want to go to the sale, like you probably, let's just start at the beginning. I'm going to go through a checklist of things I think you need to be doing really, really well before you say, hey, I need to be going to the auction on, and buying a lot of cars. Okay. So what do those things look like? One, do you have a consistent weekly used car inventory plan? Are you meeting every week with your team to come up with a buy plan? Do you know how many cars? I've done this before. Do you know how many cars you sold last week? Do you know how many cars you took in on trade last week? Do you know how many cars you bought last week? Do you know how many cars you have in recon? Do you know how many cars you're going to make saleable or this week? Right? If you're doing that, you should be able to say that, okay, great. Now I know how many cars I took in last week, how many cars I sold last week, how many cars I need this week to keep up to my plan. If we want to ramp up our plan, right? So we should probably be buying some more. Are you talking about that every week? If you're not, you probably shouldn't be going to the auction race and buying cars because you're going to make mistakes. 2, are you turning your inventory at a high rate right now? What do I mean? Like, so what's a good healthy rate? At least 12 times a year. Are you selling at least what you have in inventory right now? If you're carrying 100 and only selling 80, you probably don't need the auction. If you're carrying 100 and selling 120 to 130, you probably need the sale, right? And don't tell me that I'm selling that rate right now. Like consistently, have you proved out for the last couple of months, 60 to 90 days that's where you're at? If that's the case, you probably should consider heading to the sale. Are your sweet spot sales or are your 0 to 30 day sales 60% or more? Are they? If you're in the 45, 50% range, probably need to work on driving because if you're not, you're definitely not turning your inventory 12 times or more. You might be, or you might be reacting down the road, which, okay, but like I would definitely be driving for 60% plus sweet spot sales, okay, before I consider really an aggressive auction plan. Here's the one I want you, last two here. Is your trade to retail percentage 50% or higher? What do I mean? The number of retail deals, new and used combined, that have a trade attached to them, is it at least 50%? If you're not at 50% there, guys, I don't know what, you're missing on you. So I would work on that process. Okay. Finally, do you have a decent consumer acquisition plan in place? I'm not saying, you guys need to be like CarMax or Carvana and have a whole extra, but like, are you at least trying to buy cars from consumers? If you're not doing these 5 things, why the heck are you thinking about heading to the auction? Right? Because if one, you're going to make mistakes. You don't even know how many cars you need, what cars you need. 2, you're not turning enough inventory. So you're going to go out and buy cars that you're probably not good at or stuff your shop with cars, and it's only going to lead to age. You're 3 or 4 to trade. Like you have meat on the bone. You're not getting the right number of trades from your customers. And finally, like put a plan in place to like at least get cars from customers. So think about that. I'd love to know your comments, your thoughts. Like, why should I be going to the sale? Like, these are some things that I think you guys could be considering before you want to head out to the auction. It's just like the right thing to do. So live from the back lot, this is Tim Scoutless. I got to, check out the YouTube channel with these videos. I am trying to, work on the Facebook page and the Instagram. I do appreciate all you guys. You know what I always say, right? Sell them all. We can always buy more. Have a good weekend, guys.